Yes guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got something Spurs related for you. Essentially what this video is going to be is me going through the potential Spurs summer signings for the 2021 transfer window and ranking them in a tiered system as to whether I think they would be a good signing for the club or a bad signing for the club. Before we get going in this video, do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to hit 100 subs, so any support by you guys would be absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So as you can see, I've got 4 different tiers in my on my screen here, and you can see I've got pictures of the potential summer transfer targets down the bottom of my screen. And essentially, I'm going to be talking you through each individual one and giving you my thoughts and opinions as to where I think they would fit on this tiered system, and essentially why I think they would be a good signing for the club and why they wouldn't be a good signing for the club. So I'm going to jump straight into it and get going. So we've got about 10 targets on here that I have seen us being linked to, we have been linked to in the past, and there is maybe slight truth in us getting around to potentially signing these people. So I'm going to start with Max Aarons. So he's the first one I'm going to talk about. So he's a name that has obviously been thrown around by the club and in association with the club for a couple of seasons now. There was talk of us potentially getting hold of him when Norwich got relegated last season, but just unfortunately it didn't really materialise. So, you know, his name is circulating again, although it might be a little bit more difficult to get our hands on his services as Norwich have come straight back up. There is also interest from the likes of Arsenal, but I do actually think that our interest in the player is pretty genuine. And I mean, in terms of a signing, a right back, it does look like Sergio Aurier is going to be exiting the club this summer, heading back to PSG, so we do need to find a replacement for him, and Max Aarons could be that guy. You know, he's 21 years old, so it doesn't mean that he'd come in and be the end product straight away, but he's consistent, and he showed that for Norwich last season. You know, he made 45 appearances for them last season. You know, he was consistent in the sense that he didn't get too many injuries. He provided a goal and assist every now and again. So he has good foundations to be a great fullback for us. Is he going to be someone that Fonseca's going to come in and be amazed by? I'm not too sure. But it does look like the club is already operating on transfers before we've even announced our new manager. So it might be the case that we bring someone like that in anyway, and he might just be told to play him and fit him in around the squad, as is clearly the case with the likes of Oliver Skipp coming back this season and Ryan Sessegnon. So in terms of how good the signing I think it would be, to be honest with you, I'm going to put him in the average column. For me, I think it's a little bit of a risk. I think the reason for this is he has got a contract that runs until 2024 as well. So he's still got 3 years left on his contract, and for that reason, it could mean that he ends up costing 30 to 40 million for his services. If you add the English tax onto that as well, it does make it a little bit of a risk, and for that reason, for me, he's going to go in the average tier. Moving on then, I want to talk about Joachim Andersen, who was obviously on loan at Fulham last season, and he's one of the only names really that it looks like we're set on signing, regardless of the manager, regardless of anything. It does look like there is a deal going on behind the scenes with Lyon there, his parent club. In terms of price tag, it does look like it's going to be somewhere between 20 and 30 million, which, I mean, be your own judge as to whether you think that's a good price for him. A lot of you will have watched him last season for Fulham. Personally, I think he is excellent for them, one of their best players. I think he's left-footed, he's got a wonder of a left foot, brilliant passer of the ball, and he reminds me a little bit of Joe Rodon in the sense that he puts his body on the line, and he gives everything for the club. So, I mean, I do not mind that at all. Yeah, I mean, 31 appearances for their Fulham last season as well, which is brilliant. So, you know, lack of injuries is always going to be helpful for us as well, especially as centre-back is an area of the pitch that we really need to improve upon. So, for him, I'm going to put him in a good signing. Not excellent, because he's not a massive name, and, you know, he's not someone that's going to come in and wow the fans straight away, but I do think this would be a good bit of business. Moving on then, and I want to talk about Celik from Lille. So he's another name that you know, has been thrown around in the newspapers. I'm not too sure if there are any concrete links there, but I did want to talk about him because he's a fascinating player. He's obviously plays right back for Lille and Turkey in the Euro, so I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on him for that. But yeah, he's 24 years old. He played 29 times for Lille last season, and he was solid. Of course, he's part of a title-winning team, which is just obviously a massive achievement for him, so he knows what it takes to win. He's clearly got something about him if he's able to, pit PSG to that top spot and be part of that project. So that's fantastic to see as well. And again, he's got a contract that runs till 2023, so he's only actually got 2 years left on it, which not too bad at all, actually. And I don't mind that at all. So you may be looking again somewhere between 15 and 25 million for him, which I actually think would be a good deal. So for that reason, for me, he's going to go in my good column for the ranking. I think I would prefer him over Max Aarons. And yeah, he looks really exciting. So definitely keep an eye on him during the Euros and form your own opinions of him, because he does look relatively good. Right, next up, we're going to talk about Demiral, who obviously plays for Juventus. He's been a heavy-hitting name that, again, we've been linked with, and I think Alistair Gold mentioned him as well a couple of times, that we have a lot of admirers of him at the club. Of course, he plays for Juventus. He is Turkish as well. So if we were to bring in him and Selic, that'd be a nice maybe right-hand side of our defence to, help instill that rebuild and rebuff of the squad that we clearly need. The guy's 23 years old, so he's a brilliant age to bring the likes of him in. One thing I do want to highlight the fact with him, he has only played 15 times in Serie A for Juventus this season, which is a little bit worrying. I know centre-back is a competitive spot for them, but I do think he had a couple of injury problems and just wasn't able to break into that side. However, that might well benefit us in our pursuit of him and trying to bring him into the club. But he's going to be the first one that goes into the excellent category, because he's a fantastic player. He's demonstrated so much for Juventus that he's got that little bit of a wow factor. He plays on sort of the edge of his own box. He's very committed to the cause. However, I do think that he might cost quite a lot. I reckon you're probably looking at the upside of 40 million here, and the reason for that is he's got a contract again that runs till 2024. Juventus, obviously a massive club, would be demanding massive money, especially considering we've just nicked their sporting director off them as well. So there is maybe a slight downside to that. However, if we were to bring him in, absolutely fantastic signing, no problems at all. First one to go in my excellent category. Now, I do want to talk about Paulo Dybala, and this is probably the most unrealistic signing on the list, but I just wanted to chuck his name in there because he's almost like my dream signing, and I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me on this. However, I think that he is just a magician. He would be such an amazing player to play in behind the likes of Kane if he were to stay, or in that number 10 role instead of maybe someone like Dele or Ndombele or Lo Celso. Of course, he could work with Lo Celso, that Argentinian link. He is 27, so maybe you're only looking at giving him one big contract, and the issue is I think his price tag is still quite high, and the reason for that is I think he's about to sign a new deal with Juventus, so I might be clutching at straws here, but if we were to get him in, another one that I would approve of being excellent, because he's got world-class talent. He's played with some of the best players in the world, and yeah, he would be fantastic. His current deal does run out next season, but as I mentioned, he might sign a new one, so one to keep an eye on. You never know. We didn't think Bale was coming back to the club, did we? And he did, so who knows. Right, a name that has emerged recently is one of that called, I think, is Nicolo Gonzalez, who plays for Stuttgart, and he's a striker over in the Bundesliga, playing in Germany, and he's come out today, and Fabrizio Romano has confirmed our interest in him. So he's confirmed that he's leaving Stuttgart this summer, and Spurs are one of the clubs that are interested. There's a number that apparently are, and I've done a little bit of research on him this afternoon, and he's 23 years old. He played 15 times in the Bundesliga for Stuttgart this season, scored 6 goals, so that isn't too bad of a return. It doesn't seem like he's been massively consistent with his game time. I'm not entirely sure if that's been down to injuries, but he may potentially be one of the people we bring in either to replace Kane or to replace Vinicius Jr., because it doesn't look like we're going to renew his loan deal or sign him on a permanent basis, so keep an eye on that one. We're clearly interested in him. I think he's valued at about 20 to 30 million. Another one whose contract runs until 2024. But for me, I don't think I can put him in higher than anything other than that average signing. And the reason for that is if he is a replacement for Kane, probably not anywhere near the level that we need to be bringing in to fill that hole. But you never know. I've been proven wrong before. Maybe I'll be proven wrong again. Right, so I want to talk about Kulusevski from Sweden, another Juventus player. So maybe Paratici's got some sort of deal going on with the guys over at Juventus to ship off some of their unwanted players to us. However, I'm not entirely sure Kulusevski is going to be unwanted by Juventus. So he is a star boy, apparently, from what I've researched. He's only 21 years of age. He's played 35 times for Juventus this season, so he's clearly an integral part of their starting 11, if not as a sub. But he has scored 4 goals, 3 assists. I think he plays sort of on the right wing for Juventus, so he could maybe be a player that comes in and replaces maybe the likes of Lucas Moura or Lamela or Bergwijn, one of those players. But for me, if we were to bring him in, he would be another excellent signing. I mean, I know I've got all 3 Juventus players at the top there, but Juventus have got a brilliant squad with some fantastic players, so that could be another one that it really does do amazingly well for us. The thing is with him, again, 2025, his contract runs out. He's probably valued at 50 million at least. So if we were to pull it off, amazing deal. If not, maybe that money can be reinvested elsewhere. Sabitzer, Marcel Sabitzer of Leipzig, obviously is a name that we've been linked with for the past couple of seasons. I believe Jose Mourinho was relatively keen on him, and it has emerged, I think reports in the Telegraph have confirmed that he could be available for about £15 million this summer. Now, if that is the case, we have to be all over him. I do think he's a brilliant midfielder, and he could replace the likes of Harry Winks in that position, provide competition for Højbjerg. But 15 million pennies and peanuts in today's transfer age, and how much money is worth to football clubs. So if he's available for that money, we need to be doing everything we can in our power to get him over the line. I know he's 27, but as I said, 15 million is nothing. He's got 1 year left on his contract, which is why that price is so low. He's played 27 times for Leipzig this season, scored 8 goals, 4 assists. So for that caliber of player, I'll put him in the good. But yeah, I'd be more than happy to bring him in for that 15 million. Right, Milan Skriniar then is probably the second most unrealistic one on there after Dybala, because I don't think we're going to get anywhere near him, but I just wanted to quickly mention him. He's another that I think his value now is like 60 million, or that's something that Inter quoted us last season. But again, similar to the likes of Demiral, would be an amazing signing in the sense that he's only 26, 32 apps for Inter this season, lots of clean sheets, obviously part of that Inter Milan side that won the league in the end under Antonio Conte. I don't really want to say too much more than that because I don't think it will happen, but for me, excellent signing to rebuild that centre-back spot. So we have 2 targets left then, and one of those names is Marcel Thuram, who plays for Borussia Mönchengladbach. So this is one that apparently has been reported in the media that we are advanced with. So there are some concrete links here to this signing. So again, I've done some research on the guy. Obviously, he's French, plays for Gladbach in Germany. He's only 23, so again, a good age to bring in a forward like that. He can either play maybe up front in that central role, or again, he can play on sort of maybe that right wing or the left wing perhaps, and he likes to drift inside, come inside and play maybe off a direct striker. So again, that could be beneficial under Fonseca, who knows, but 29 appearances for Gladbach last season, 8 goals, 7 assists, pretty solid returns for someone playing in a calibre team like that, so no complaints there. I think, to be honest, I will put him in good. I don't think I can go any higher than that. So yeah, not too much else to say there apart from would be a good sign-in. Let's see if we can get it done or not. Now, the final name I would like to talk about is Ben White. I saw Arsenal also linked to him, but I just can't understand why we would pay over the odds for a player like this. Brighton are a good team on their day, and obviously all of the XG stuff suggests that, but I don't think that Ben White is as much as what people are making out to be. For England, perhaps he's maybe one of England's better centre-backs, but for what we're looking for, I don't particularly think he suits the bill. He just reminds me of a potential another Eric Dyer in the making. I know he's only 23, he's quite young, and he was solid and ever-present for Brighton last season, but that was a Brighton team that finished 16th, conceded a fair amount of goals, and if we wanted him, I reckon we'd be paying 30 plus million for him, and it just doesn't make sense to me. That money would be better invested abroad on other centre-backs, I think. And to be fair, I'm not sure Paratici would be too keen on him. I think he'd be looking in the Italian league for a lot of signings this summer perhaps, and clearly the Bundesliga. So yeah, for me, he's going to be the one that goes in poor, but that's going to be the only one out of our transfer targets. So there you have it. There are my transfer targets for Spurs this summer, and where I think they rank in terms of how good they would be for the club, how beneficial, and how much they would improve us as a squad. I have been quite kind, quite generous. I don't want to be too cynical because there's no guarantee that we sign these players. I'm just trying to imagine scenarios in which they do come along, and I do think most of them would improve us and take us forward. Maybe you could argue the likes of Aarons and Gonzalez may not, but the ones above that definitely would. There's no argument about it. So as ever, if you disagree with me or you want to tell me your thoughts on those transfer targets, get in the comments and let me know what you think, and I reply to you guys, so make sure that you are getting your comments in, because that is what I like as part of doing this YouTube channel as well, hearing what you guys think about certain issues and topics. As I mentioned in my previous video, I am still doing a giveaway. If you subscribe to the channel, if you're one of the first 200 subscribers, you can win a £20 Amazon gift voucher that you can use across the entire site. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. And yeah, hopefully I'll be back at some point in the next couple of days with either some more Euros content or some more Spurs content. Don't forget to like the video, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the day, enjoy the Euros, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
We'll be right back.